This is the Marathon Handbook podcast. I am your host, Michael Doyle, and I am joined live from San Antonio, Texas, by my co-hosts, Katelyn Tocci, Alex Sear, and Jessy Carveth. And today we are going to break down the year that was 2025. We're going to get into the time machine. We're going to go back to January, which feels like a million years ago. We're going to walk through all the biggest, most dramatic, most impressive performances and storylines, some controversy, some real disappointment as well throughout the year of 2025. Okay, first, guys, welcome to San Antonio. We're here for the running event, so we decided we're going to stash a little podcast because we're all here together. Let's do it. Let's get into the time machine. Are we ready?
Ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
let's do it.
Nobody knows what to say first. Everyone's like taking their turn right now.
There's
too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's because there's so much. I feel like you got to go chronological, right?
We're going to go chronological.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. But we're going to spice it up a little bit. I'm going to ask some very pointed questions about what you guys think about some of these performances, some of these moments in running. And we're going to, I think, put this in your minds for later. I'm going to quiz each one of you. What do you think the best performance of the year was? What do you think the biggest disappointment of the year was?
I know mine.
That's not such a tough one. I know
we might be
mine.
unanimous in that one.
Okay.
And what we think the story of the year was in 2025. What defines 2025 for you? If you look back on this year in running, say 10 years from now, what was 2025 all about?
I've got mine.
Okay, first things first. January. A unheralded young North American runner towing the line in Houston, the half marathon, sets a
Oh my God. Thank you for including me.
Prince Edward Island record. Alex Sear runs the half marathon.
Okay,
No, man, we're not talking about
I'll
that.
tell you how I did it.
No,
all right.
Okay.
So
here we go. We got 60 minutes. You want to get into it? You want to do the whole 16 weeks training?
Yeah, I pulled up my splits here if you'd like to hear them.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Conner Mantz breaking the American record
Sad.
in Houston. Do you guys remember how that race ended?
Yes.
Very dramatic.
Very.
He came in second place overall in that race. It was a lean to the finish line as well. And he sets the American record, runs under 60 minutes. Only the second or third, I can't off the top of my head here, American to ever crack the 60-minute barrier. And so Conner Mantz starts the year. He sort of starts the year for us in terms of storytelling here, I would say, with that big, dramatic half marathon. Maybe put a pin in it, maybe one of the performances of the year.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's just the start for Conner Mantz in 2025.
Yeah.
He had about 3 or 4 records that we can get into as we continue throughout the year. But yeah, the 59-17.
59-17 with 2 little asterisks next to that time. One, he came in kind of hurt. I remember this. He was not very confident before the race. And then 2, and I can say this because, I did run Houston and it was the same for everybody. It was a windy, cold day. Not a day for records.
Sears sandbagging already. not a day for running fast. It's amazing that he went that fast.
Wait till we get to November when we talk about Philly.
Oh, yeah, because there's a whole section.
Oh,
of the
that's right. We
Philadelphia
have that.
Marathon here.
Do you have that? I have that in my notes.
We did a podcast on Philadelphia. I think we've milked that for.
We've done enough. But my point with this is that, if you were paying attention, you knew that he had much faster than 59-17 in the tank, which is insane because that was already about 30 seconds faster than the American record.
Will he run this January? He's injured.
He's
right?
hurt. He's hurt.
Yeah,
He and his
injured.
partner, his training partner, Clayton Young, are currently hurt.
Both?
Which is,
Yes.
which is tough.
So
maybe not.
Yeah.
That's coming up pretty quick.
question for you guys, and because you were in Houston for Houston Marathon weekend, the half marathon almost gets overshadowed, or it overshadows the marathon at this point, but it's a big marathon weekend. Where do you place Houston in 2025 in the grand scheme of things in marathoning? Where does Houston fit?
In terms of half marathoning,
Or just in terms of marathon, in terms of distance running weekend.
Distance running weekend, one of the very top ones when you're looking for speed. So I think you go into a race weekend for one of two things, generally speed or experience. And when it comes to a fast race, Houston is among the top. I mean, there were about 60 men who ran under 65 minutes in the half marathon, super deep. I'd say between Houston and Valencia, those are the two very, very fast marathon/half marathon race weekends. So just because of that, it gets a whole lot of tourism and attraction.
It's super flat.
Yeah.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
So you have like cold weather to run in, and you've got the flat roads as well.
It's not like an experience. Like if you're out looking for an experience, go do Big Sur or whatever. I don't know. But if you're there for business, you want to go on a business trip, Houston's a good one right now.
February was the month of world records. And kind of like sneaky world records that kind of crept up on us, I felt like. So an aspiring dentist from Louisville, Kentucky named Yared Nuguse hit the boards at the Millrose Games and broke the indoor mile world record in February. And I would say Nuguse was already kind of, household name is probably not the right word in track, but a really well-known guy. And sort of at this point in February, you're thinking to yourself like, oh, Nuguse is going to be like, for sure, Olympic, big-time contender. He's going to have a huge year. Kind of went so-so for him.
That was the best of Nuguse that we saw. Still early. Happy for him because at the time he was considered the very much the third man inside of a rivalry of three. We were still in the Jakob Ingebrigtsen versus Josh Kerr versus maybe Nuguse as the third. Right. So he really put his name on that rivalry, which by later that year, the rivalry was no more and a lot of milers popped out of seemingly nowhere and made it all irrelevant, at least for a few months. But at the time, February was Nuguse month.
That's a fun little thought experiment that we're not going to go down this little avenue here. There's going to be many avenues we're not going to go down here in this year in review podcast today. But a fun one is like 2024 was the year of the kind of what we thought were the top 3 or 4 milers in the world at the Olympic Games in Paris. And then that got kind of blown to hell by Cole Hawker. And then
surprise,
2025 became this whole other, it's like shuffling the deck, right? Adding some new key players and a few of these athletes also having tough years in the end. So
yeah, which one of you guys knew the name Isaac Nader before this summer? Be honest.
No.
Because I didn't either.
No.
World champ.
Yeah. And could be one of those world champs that like in 10 years, 2035, who is the 2025 1500 meter world champion?
So far, 2025 has been the best running year of my life. I've had 3 personal bests in the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. And I don't think the secret is that complicated. I just haven't been getting injured. I think a big reason for that is that I've started to take my post-run hour much more seriously. So instead of sitting on the couch, eating empty snacks, and watching reruns of The Office, I've been taking Momentous Creatine. So it's become a bit of a habit. I take it after my run. I like their flavorless white creatine powder. It dissolves in a glass of water. Sometimes I put it in a recovery beverage, and I have it after the run. I've never been a huge supplements guy, but with the Momentous Creatine, there's no fear. It's NSF certified. It's used by a bunch of pro athletes, also every NFL team, and even the US military. Now, my goals are probably a little bit different from those of your classic infantry officer. I take it to help my muscles recover so that I'm ready for the next day's run. And bonus, we're also learning that creatine may be fuel for the brain. And so I like to think that it helps me stay sharp for this podcast and ensures that I always have something to respond to Katelyn and her wild facts and Michael and his sarcastic jokes. Right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off their first subscription order with promo code Marathon. So go to livemomentous.com and use promo code Marathon for up to 35% off your first subscription order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code Marathon. Back to the show.
And then switching to the roads at the end of February, to cap off the world record month, a Ugandan 24-year-old kid named Jakob Kiplimo decides to totally demolish the half marathon world record, runs 56:42 in Barcelona. He's the first athlete to ever run under 57 minutes for a half marathon, and totally smokes the world record. Like, this might be one of the big exclamation mark world record performances in history. I got to say this right now, not to like spoil our, what do you think the best performance of the year was, but this has to be a finalist for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like I'm not spoiling it because I said so in a previous podcast. To me, that was the best performance. And also by World Athletics points, it is considered the best distance run in the history of the world. Like, when you take that time and you compare it across distances and genders, there's nothing that matches up to a 56:42.
Yeah, I mean, not to get into the boring nitty gritty of World Athletics
you think
points.
it's boring?
They're not. World Athletics are not doing themselves any favors with the point system. But basically, it's this weird point system. It's a math equation to try to create equity across all track and field events, include like marathon all the way down to 100 meters. And it seems fairly accurate, I have to say. I'll give their mathematician kudos. It seems fairly accurate. And the Kiplimo half marathon is like right up there with like the Usain Bolt 100 and 200 meter world records, which is wild. All right.
Moving to March.
Hey, do you two remember March? Do you remember?
I remember.
Do you remember where you were
well.
when we watched the Tokyo Marathon?
We were at the Boston Run Show between days in a hotel room. I think it was a Marriott, and the three of us, like, we had a room and you had a room, and we joined the rooms.
They were adjoining rooms.
Yes.
We had like the parents and kids rooms with the door open in between,
right.
the party room.
And we streamed the Tokyo Marathon.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, in a live watch along. And I don't know about you guys or you, Jessy, watching from across the world, I was still buzzing from Jakob Kiplimo's performance so much that I was convinced that his compatriot and longtime training partner, Joshua Chepngetich, would do the same. And in his debut in the marathon,
that's right,
absolutely crush it. He does have the 10,000 meter and 5,000 meter world record. And so I thought, this is the guy who's going to break the 2-hour barrier. And he came in at a measly 2:05:59.
He kind of limped in, but it didn't look terrible. It was, I should correct you, I believe it was his second marathon at that point. He had run Valencia the year before
and run 2:08,
2:09.
2:09. There we go.
Very good doing it either.
Well, that was a pretty good PR then.
It was, actually. He might be on
a whole lot of time.
He might be on course for something, but
Right.
I was expecting more.
So, young Ethiopian named Tadesse Tekele wins the men's race in 2:03:23. Kind of thought at that point that Tekele would become kind of one of these new up-and-comers that we're going to see at the front of a lot of races. He did appear in the World Championships and was in that lead pack for a while, but then I think he actually, if I remember correctly, faded away and took an Uber home at the end of, because that was a brutal race. We'll get to that in a bit.
Toss-up.
Yeah. Women's side, Situme Assefa, who I think is, she's a pretty unassuming character. She's not as much flash or as much marketing presence as a Tigist Assefa, for example.
Or at the time, Ruth Chepngetich, if we're being honest.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll get to her in a minute.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. She finished second in Chicago in 2024 behind Ruth Chepngetich, and she wins the Tokyo Marathon in pretty commanding fashion from what I remember, but was kind of fading in the second half. And it's like made for a dramatic race because like, is she going to hang on here? Is she going to be able to pull this off? And she did. She won in 2:16:31 as well. So moving forward here, just to touch on a couple of other things. Let's see here. Let's jump to April. April was a busy month.
Yeah.
Yes. We had
We've got a world record.
we have a world record. Do you want to talk Boston or do you want to talk London?
second time in the year where Conner Mantz almost achieves greatness, but not quite. And I think that
Almost
was
the
prevailing
podium.
theme. He almost won Houston, still broke the record. Almost podiumed, got outkicked by a certain Alphonse Felix Simbu, who at that point was still a relative unknown. We'll talk a bit more about him later on.
I love all these like Easter eggs of like, stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Simbu comes up
There's so
later
much
in the
more to
podcast.
say.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And then your Boston Marathon champ, Michael, your boy.
John Kerr. Another instance very similar to the women's race in Tokyo, where John Kerr took it out very hard with about 12 KD, right at the top of the hills, at the top of the Newton Hills, took it out very hard, gapped the field, and then kind of had to hold on for dear life. Our man behind the decks here, Kosuke, who was out at the finish line taking photos on the day, got an incredible photo of John Kerr doing like a check back, the look over the shoulder because he wasn't sure, because I think he was like just running on absolute fumes with about a K to go, and pulls off, I think, a pretty comfortable, confident win, all things considered, and a real statement win, I think Chicago was the welcoming party for John Kerr as a big time marathon runner, and then Boston is kind of like, oh, this guy could be an all timer.
Yeah.
I mean, impressively, like if you remember at the start of that race, he had that little bit of a fumble, you could say.
He did. Oh my God, that's right.
And that's why he finished with just holding his bib, no bib on him.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, he had that
holding
bit of
holding the chip
his-
time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Because he had got a bit in a tussle in the mix in the,
That's right. He
in
took
the
a
group
spill
there, right
at the very
at the
beginning.
start.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he just like leave the bib and cross finish line? They're like, sorry, we don't have your,
It can't count.
your
We
chip
don't have
time.
your
Yeah.
Maybe check with the organizers and maybe we can include your time.
Yeah, for the longest time, I don't think they do it they might still do it in Berlin, but for the longest time, the elites would have a chip in the bib, and then they'd also have the old fashioned chip they have to tie into shoelaces.
Yeah, on your shoelaces. Yeah, absolutely.
I missed that chip. I missed that ridiculous procedure of the night before having to untie my shoelaces on one of my shoes and thread
Get it in
this
there.
weird
Do you
chip.
know what they're talking about?
They have
Yeah, I've done it before.
Yes, thank you, Jessy.
I thought it was an age thing. I guess it's just a me thing.
On you go.
just
Never done
I
that
think
in my
it's
life.
just you've never done it.
And this side of the table.
Are you
like this
secretly
little
45
round
as well?
chip.
47 actually.
Good God. Okay, that explains so much.
Yeah.
48 soon.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So on the women's side, we had that incredible rivalry resurface again.
Yeah.
Between Helen O'Beary and
Sharon Loketti.
Loketti.
my mind is blanking right now.
Oh, there's so many names.
Operating
We
on
need to-
2 hours of sleep here, but Helen O'Beary, Sharon Loketti. Again, stay tuned for more on them in the November section of this year in review.
Yeah.
But this time around, Loketti, my girl, I can't believe I blanked on her name for a second there.
Yeah, I mean, how dare you?
She avenged the year before, where the year before, O'Beary famously outkicks Loketti with about a mile to go, just turns on the afterburners. This time around, Loketti was like, no, not this time. You could tell she had been practicing that moment since the year before, and it was a stunning finish. She outsprints O'Beary, and one of the great Boston Marathon battles, and certainly one of the great rivalries between two athletes in a generation for sure. Very exciting finish. I think again a signature performance for her.
Totally.
It's always those two duking it out.
Yeah.
O'Beary and Loketti, always. On the hard courses too.
It's always that's it. It's always those two duking it out on the hard courses, and usually those in North America, New York and Boston, because they're hard. And then same thing as what happened in 2024. On the other side of the world, there's a whole different race. It's the time trialers race. And here's Tigges Tocci going for it and trying to challenge. Okay, again, Ruth. So at the time, we don't know that Ruth Chepngetich was doping, right? She was kind of the queen of women's distance running, widely considered potentially the best distance runner of all time, making an athlete like Tigges Tocci, who was throwing down incredible times, very much second banana. So she shows up to London, tries to get a piece of that media pie, and kind of manages to do so. She doesn't come close to Chepngetich's astronomical 2:09, but she drops a 2:15.50, which broke the previous women's only world record that Paris Jepngetich had set in London the year prior. So London's a good opportunity to get the women's only world record as the women go out on their own.
Yes.
I want to, this is for a different podcast, but I want to talk about eventually the legitimacy and validity of women's only world records, because women tend to run alone even in races where there are men. Oftentimes, like the Obiri-Loketi rivalry rarely has. You know, or they rarely run with men as pacers, right? Anyway, this is for a different podcast, but
Easy.
No, and I think it's important maybe for people in the audience who aren't that familiar with it, that the women's only world record, right? That what that means. So that means that the women have a different start time than the men, and that they don't have male pacers, right? In some instances, they can have female pacers, but no male pacers, right? So those times do tend to be different. And so, and another thing that we're going to need to speak to later, because Tigizaseffa, I did want to mention this amazing women's only world record, but we need to speak about her later as well, because in my eyes, Tigizaseffa still has the world record.
Oh,
But
yes.
that's something that we will.
yes.
Hold your horses. We'll get there in a second.
A little bit
We'll get
later,
there in a second.
which could be a little controversial. And also in London, we have to mention Sebastian Sauer's amazing 2:02.27, because something else that I do want to talk about today that I have seen kind of as a theme, it doesn't really have a specific month. So just to mention the theme is that I feel like 2025 is finally a year where we are seeing some up and coming candidates to perhaps soon break that 2-hour barrier in the marathon.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something so much hot. I thought your take was going to be so much more flaming hot than that.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to invoke the goat. I thought you were going to talk. I thought you were going to talk about the successor to Eliud Kipchoge.
Oh, well, yes, that's part of it.
Why
that's
not?
where we're going.
Let's spice up that take. Let's throw a little frizzance on that.
Let's do it. Because we did ask Kipchoge about this when we were in New York.
Oh my God.
He did not want to answer who we thought his successor would be. That was very funny.
You offered him John Career on a silver platter, and he was like,
there are many runners.
Pass.
Yeah, he did not. There are many, he said.
Yeah.
He didn't want to give that up. But in my eyes, Sebastian Sauer is one of those. I mean, he could be, to me, the one.
Well, let's do that right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Who's the guy? Who is the guy?
Sauer's the guy.
From a performance standpoint,
Here we go.
Here we go. I would like to say Sauer is the guy,
Okay.
but Eliud Kipchoge is more than performance.
Good point. Very good point. You've made us all feel bad now.
Oh.
You're right.
Oh.
Eliud Kipchoge is so
I didn't
much
think
more
of
than
that.
performance.
Eliud Kipchoge.
There is no philosopher king right
There
now.
is no.
Oh no,
There's
there is
no-
no
of the
philosopher king.
sport.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
is
speaking
no-
just time. I'm speaking just who's going to break that 2-hour barrier.
Exactly.
on a
Yeah.
There is,
sanctioned
to
course.
answer Michael's question, I don't think there is a Kipchoge.
No,
right
but
now, at
the
least.
successor to Eliud Kipchoge is Eliud Kipchoge, because
Exactly.
obviously he's not going anywhere.
He's still
That's true.
going.
More on that later.
That's true.
What?
More on that later as well. That's
Yeah.
part of the year
Stick
in
around.
review.
Stay
But
tuned.
who will succeed him in terms of times?
Right, I meant
okay.
times.
So Sauer is a tremendous option. I think there are 3 options: Sauer,
Agreed.
John Career,
Yep.
and Jakob Kiplimo.
I was going to
Yeah.
say
Sure.
with that half marathon.
It's
you
hard to
can't.
bet against him. With
It is.
that half exactly. And listen, fast forward this a week, and John Career might be a much more serious contender after Valencia. He wasn't on.
Skip ahead to the epilogue of this
Exactly.
podcast,
Yeah.
and we will be
It's
telling
absurd
you.
now.
May have happened. It may have happened. But that's what I mean. I think one of the themes of 2025 is that we can say, okay, we are seeing the light. We are seeing a spark, because previously, at least last year, we didn't see that. We didn't say this person, and this person may break 2 hours soon. But now I feel like maybe in Valencia in 2026, we may have that record.
At the beginning of 2025, I started making this master list of like who would be the first, well, we'll call it legitimate sub 2-hour marathon runner in history. We know that Kipchoge ran 1:59, but
Right.
he did so in a test event. I mean, in a real deal marathon with competition. And I had like 12 viable candidates, including the 3 guys that you listed off at the start of the year. but I didn't have them preferenced above any of these others that I had on my, like Kajelcha and these guys.
Benson Kipruto,
Cisse Lema, people like that. So we now have a trio of guys. We've got 3 guys. And they're 3 interesting characters in running as well, which is cool. Okay, so.
Can I talk about London? Something else about London?
Absolutely.
Okay. And also talking about how 2025 continues with the huge just running boom.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about not only London, let's talk about the London finishers, right? London now being the largest marathon with 59,000, get the number, 2026 finishers this year. But what even, I don't know if it surprised me more, and I do understand that this would have been last year, but for this year, there were over 1 million applications for the London Marathon, which is insane. So we are just continuing to go through this incredible running boom, and in 2025 it has not ceased whatsoever. We're just like this, it's like this snowball going down the mountain, which is amazing.
And this finisher record was broken twice this year. London only held it briefly, and then New York took it over again.
Exactly.
So that just speaks to the running boom even more.
And New York, how many did we have? We can just mention that
New
right
York
now.
Was 59.
London
was 56.
London was 56.
Sorry. London was 56 and New York was 59.
And someone's going to get 60,000 next year.
That'll be the big number to hit, right?
Pretty guaranteed.
Yeah. Thanks, Jessy. Yeah, that's right.
So I think the big question surfaces after London, and certainly after the fall events here this year. I think one of the big questions for the vast majority of our audience, the recreational runner, people like all of us except for Alex, Mr. Sub Elite, soon to be elite, on the verge of elite.
Listen, my goal for 2026 for you guys to stop calling me freaking sub elite.
You want to be elite?
I just want to be elite.
You're elite in my eyes, Alex.
Thanks, but I want to be elite on the World Athletics points. It's about the World Athletics points.
What is elite?
I don't count.
What defines elite? What would define elite for a half? 102? Is that elite?
I think 102.
Let's go 102.
I think 102 is elite. Yeah.
Okay, so you get 102.59. It's elite athlete Alex Sear.
Yes, please.
We'll put a little placard under your name underneath. We'll switch from senior editor to elite runner.
In residence.
You like in residence? Okay,
residence.
we'll go in residence.
Please.
Okay.
But for all of us, really, the big question emerges of like, are the World Marathon Majors too big?
Yeah.
Are there too many runners in these fields? Are there too many athletes towing the line in London and in New York and in Chicago in particular and Berlin as well? Are the courses too clogged at this point? Is a valid question. My answer is yes.
Yeah.
A lot of my runners, my athletes have said yes after they've run the majors.
And we won't mention who. We had a conversation with a very prominent person in the running world this morning who I think kind of agreed with us that it's just getting too clogged up. So this is a common sentiment that it's tough to take it on, because I don't think the World Marathon Majors want to admit that they've maybe they're starting to hurt their product a little bit by this kind of race to have the biggest version of your race every single year. But I think it's a valid question. As a runner, you should ask yourself, is this version of Chicago, New York, London, Sydney, is this the best version of this race with this maximum number of people in the course? I think it's a valid question. I think it's cool that there's world records in terms of participation. And I know there's huge demand. Like this year's London Marathon, it was nearly 1 million people applied in the lottery. 880,000 people applied in the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah. And so related, the marathon majors are trying to activate against that. Well, this year is the first time that Sydney became a major marathon. And all year, the rumor of having Cape Town join the squad and become the 8th marathon major circulated, never materialized. But we're on the verge, I think, of getting more majors, but also hopefully more excitement and attendance at the non-major races, because many of them are blossoming into pretty cool products.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot what you said about, there are kind of two reasons, not two reasons, there are a lot of reasons, but two different types of marathons. The amazing experience at a major, and then when you're really trying to get a time, trying to go to a marathon where you feel like you won't have that kind of clogged sensation when you're starting out, where you can go a little bit faster, where you can kind of find your lane right away. And so I think that there are marathons for everyone, because there are people who want that experience and just want to like go and see the crazy streets of New York, and then you want to go to Houston and get your 102,
Your elite time.
But Katelyn,
yes.
you used to have it both ways. It used to be that you could go to Chicago and run fast and have a big marathon major experience at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Perhaps we'll get to those days again.
The good old days.
The good old days. So, okay, before we move off of the spring world major marathon slate and onto the trails, or can we even call the backwoods of Tennessee trails?
Trails is
We'll get to that in a second.
The earth.
The earth. We get
The natural
So we get to Middle Earth.
Adventure.
I want to get your take on what you think the strongest, most exciting marathon was of the majors, of the spring majors. So we had Tokyo in March, then we had Boston in April, and then a week later, the London Marathon. Just in terms of like overall hype, not elite running, not just the experience of the race itself, but like the overall package. What was the marathon of the spring?
I mean, I'm biased,
Yeah.
but mine's the London Marathon, because I went to London. So I got to,
right, you did.
so I got to, and it was my second time going to London, and both years that I went, the experience is just insane. Like the environment, the atmosphere, like from the elite athletes to the amateurs that are just running to be there, to the charity runners. There's so many charity runners, and you see so many different characters. Like you see teams running in these big team costumes, you see individuals, so many people running for causes, and it's the whole city. Like it takes over the whole city, and yeah, I think the course takes you by some amazing sights and everything. And yeah, for me, I guess just being able to experience that and see it all in person and then talk to the elite athletes afterwards, I think that's why it's my favorite. So maybe I'm a bit biased because I didn't go to Tokyo, I didn't go to Boston, but yeah, for me it's London. And I think also, I don't think it was last year the study was done, but the year before, it was actually the most lucrative of all the marathons.
In terms of
like from a business standpoint, it was the most financially lucrative.
And I believe also from a charity standpoint,
It
the
is
most
also.
successful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So I mean, just to add to that, but yeah, for me, it's London.
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you. And I think that maybe I'm like, you guys are surprised because you probably would have thought that I would have chosen Boston, maybe because I had a terrible race in Boston, so I'm biased. No, it's not that. I think that when you said like the big picture, I feel like London is, and we just know that because of the amount of people. I mean, yes, maybe that many people also want to get into Boston, but since it's not as easy to get into Boston, since you need to qualify for Boston, you can't really look at it as the big picture, because maybe not everyone is included in Boston, but everyone can be included in London. So I kind of see that the same way.
And I think with London too, what I also really like is specifically about the women's elite race. It's more of like a tactical game you get to watch.
Yeah.
It is because of that women's only start. They're not just sitting behind pacers. It's a more exciting race because it's fast running, but it's also the women like playing these mind games, like who's going to go first, and you never know. And it's always just, it has you on the edge of your seat because you don't know who still has something left in them, who has that surge left, or who's going to fall back. So it's just more of an exciting race from, at least the elite women's standpoint.
Well, let me be the rose between two British thorns here.
How dare you?
The race of the spring was clearly Boston.
Clearly
Boston.
Okay.
Here's how I break it down. The men's race between Boston and London, you can cancel those two out because you had a phenomenal champion, an exciting podium. Those you can cancel.
Two exciting races too.
Very
fun to watch.
Very. The women's races, the London race does not compare to the Boston race for me. There was no drama.
Michael said no elite.
Michael said no elite.
Well,
No, I said overall.
I'm getting.
Michael said no elite.
Don't blame Michael.
I'm getting to the overall.
Michael just got thrown under the bus there.
I'm getting to the overall.
The teacher.
But the Obiri-Lokedi rivalry is inextricably linked to what Boston was. And you need to
That was a
factor
cool
that
feature.
in.
great
But
race.
in terms of overall experience, I think Boston is really onto something with the Newbury Street pop-ups. It was kind of an accident in how it got built. I think Adidas kind of pushed the other brands out of the expo, but all these other brands found their place on the street. And you say that the London Marathon took over the city. I assume that's probably true to an extent, and I really want to see it. And I'm pretty romantic about London, just having visited it, and I want to be there on race weekend. But Boston was an absolute experience.
It takes over the city as well, of course.
Oh my God, you walk down.
Yeah, I can't give that opinion because I've never been to Boston, but it probably is something sensational.
It is, yeah.
Well, we'll fix that in 2026.
Here's something we can all agree on.
What's that?
The Marathon of the Spring was not Tokyo.
It was not.
No.
I think I'm torn here because I agree with everyone's individual points here. I really like what both of you were saying about the women's only race. I think that's special. I think it's really gutsy of London to forego chasing an overall time trial style world record in the women's side with a group of male pacers and just going after the fastest possible time, which can produce a really boring race.
Yeah.
In favor of a women's only kind of championship style race where you are paying a lot of money to the top runners in the world to go, I was going to say mano a mano, but I guess it would be womano.
Like Waywamano?
Anyway, linguists out there, I'm actually a recovering linguist myself, but linguists out there, let me know what the proper saying is there. But basically going, top athlete versus top athlete versus top athlete. We were billed the greatest race of all time. One of the women didn't show up because turns out she's a doper.
I was about to say there was a bit of a dark foreshadowing with that one.
We'll get to that in a second.
Stay tuned.
Put a pin on that.
But it was April because we were confused and it kind of makes sense to be now because remember that we were wondering why did Ruth Chepngetich pull out? Why did she pull out? That's so strange. We were waiting. We wanted to see this race.
Yeah, because,
we were most excited
because
to see
it was
her.
everyone like Safan Hassan, like all the big names were there.
Safan Hassan.
Yep.
Current
Bridget Kosgei, I believe.
Who had the world record.
Kosgei, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
It was just going to be massive.
And we were like, is she injured? And the language was so askew. Like we couldn't figure out.
It was very
vague,
brief and vague.
It was a week before the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
That she pulls out to an unspecified injury or issue.
Right.
Kind of made everyone feel a little guilty because it was like, is she collapsing under the pressure of this?
It almost sounded like a psychological breakdown. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
then we learned something else, and we'll get to that when we get to July, because that's when we get to learn the truth
then
about what happened with Ruth Chepngetich. Right. We'll get to that in a minute.
But that was the first.
Yeah, I would say overall, Alex, you make a great point about the kind of happy accident, the serendipitous shift from Expo to Newbury Street in Boston. I think that the whole pop-up scene on Newbury Street in Boston is the most fascinating thing in all of the World Marathon Majors. All the sort of like the tapestry of the World Marathon Majors of all of them right now is that Newbury Street scene for that long weekend in Boston. And I think it's a huge prominent factor in why Boston is such a cool experience. And also just because like Boston is like the Olympics for the every person. It's like, you make the Boston Marathon, you made it, right? Like you've made the top of the mountain of recreational running, right? So, but I think this year London was it. I think it was. Sorry, 3 against 1.
Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Alex had it tough on Athlete of the Year and now Spring Marathon of the Year.
Let's pivot
to June.
Nope.
No.
To May.
To Earth.
To
Earth.
To at some murky point in April, late April, or I can't even remember the exact date now because we don't know until it happens.
Right.
The conch shell was blown in Frozen Head State Park in rural Tennessee.
And then a cigarette is lit.
And a running race starts. So the Barkley Marathons, after a huge 2024, which I think may have been the absolute apex of weird running in 2024, where Jasmine Paris becomes the first woman to ever finish the 100-ish mile Barkley Marathon's ultra marathon craziness. If you do not know what the Barkley is, okay, put the podcast on pause for a second and you get to go down a wild rabbit hole. I recommend starting off by reading the Wikipedia article and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's bizarre. And then there's a great documentary all about it.
Yeah.
It's about 12, 13 years ago now that kind of put the Barkley on the map for, I mean, I just remember when that documentary dropped, within about 6 months of that documentary dropping, just random friends and family members who weren't really into running or didn't run, just asking me like, what's this Barkley Marathons thing all about? Have you ever done it before?
That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah.
People know about it somehow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this year,
non-runners know about it.
Yeah, non-runners. Yes,
Right.
it's permeated. It's broken through. It is the Boston of weird, right?
It is like the most obscure running event that everyone knows about.
Yes. It is like
Running event.
a field of like less than 40
Hiking
people.
events, navigation events.
It's an
orienteering.
It's an
Earth
orienteering
events.
conference.
It's a survival event. It's
There you go.
It's a race of attrition.
I like that. Survival.
It is a group of a very small, select group of wacko ultra runners versus the course and the mind of its organizer and race director, Lazarus Lake, aka Gary Cantrell. His real name is Gary Cantrell, but he goes by a pen name, of course.
He's so much more of a Lazarus, though.
He is so he's such a Laz.
Yeah.
So this year the race, I think the pendulum swung very heavily in the other direction. Last year was a record year in terms of finishers, and also in terms of the first woman to ever finish this event. This year, no finishers. Only one person finished what they call sadistically the fun run.
Fun run.
Three loop partial finish.
Fun.
Fun indeed. And by all accounts, we did a little analytical digging on this year's race, Jessy, when you and I were covering it pretty closely as it was happening. And I'm pretty sure it was the kind of highest failure rate, most difficult year ever for the Barkley.
Laz did not like the wins the year before.
But that's almost the spirit of it,
Right.
is for the race to be impossible, for these wacko ultra runners to chase the impossible. Well, that's what Michael said, the wacko ultra runners.
I don't mean that all ultra runners are wacko.
No.
I just mean the ones that do the Barkley.
Of course.
But it's like, that's almost the appeal of it, is that it's supposed to be so impossible.
It's supposed to
so
be
hard to finish.
It's supposed to be, by Laz's own sort of statements, it's supposed to be tantalizingly close to being doable, but just out of reach. That's the design. And then it's extremely exciting when someone breaks through every few years and finishes the damn thing. So this year, I feel like maybe the calibration was a little bit too extreme, because the course and the concept of this year's version of the race just crushed the field.
I believe actually when we did look at that data, this was the year where it was, or one of the highest years with the most dropouts after the first lap.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. He had no choice. I think a 2-week diagnosis for the Barkley Marathons would have been catastrophic. As soon as it starts to sound like a course that has a cheat code and that people are figuring it out, the appeal is gone.
That's what I mean. The appeal is in its impossibility.
100%. I fully agree with you.
Almost impossibility.
And Laz is no schmuck. Like, he understands that too, right? And
Exactly.
so I was not surprised at all. I wonder if that makes him swing the pendulum again a little bit back towards the center next year, because similarly, it loses its appeal too if it's too hard. Mm-hmm. If no one even comes close, well, then it's kind of a gong show in that sense.
Let's do bold, way too early, way too ill-informed predictions. Does somebody finish the 2026 Barkley Marathons?
2 people finish.
I'm kind of that mind too. One to two. I think he's going to calibrate it like that. I'll say 1 just because you said 2.
Okay.
I think one of the previous year's finishers will come back and finish. Just one finisher.
1.
Yeah. Okay, let's skip forward to June. Let's do a hard pivot here. Let's go from the trail to the track. one of the signature moments of 2025 in all of its weirdness, grandeur, made-upness, incredibleness, breakthroughness, ness.
Did you say impossibility?
Impossibleness.
There we go. Thanks.
Nike's Wild Breaking 4 project, which was shaped around the real all-timer Faith Kipyegon, the Kenyan middle distance runner, where Nike announces in early June. It feels like they only gave us a couple of weeks heads up. Was it before they put this whole event together in Paris, in a stadium that they effectively rented out for the event, which was super weird. They staged a 1 mile track race to see if they could kit up Faith Kipyegon and train her up to break the 4-hour barrier.
4 minute.
I said the 4-hour barrier. She probably would have preferred it. Actually, probably wouldn't have enjoyed running for 4 hours, but
would have been a rougher watch.
As an ultra runner. Although she's capable of so much. So she was aiming to break the 4-minute mile barrier. And, okay. So we were there. We covered it. It was intense. It was a whirlwind. It was weird. Jessy, Alex, you were both there with me as well. Jessy, what's the takeaway from Breaking 4 for you? What's like the memory?
The memory, I mean, the whole experience itself was really fun, but I think for me, the technology and the amount of effort placed into like one person and how specific the technology was. I just remember going through that, like those buildings, those 3 buildings, and we saw what went into not just her shoes, but
the suit,
but then her arm sleeves, her headbands. I don't know why. I mean, there's so much that came from that event. She unofficially broke the mile world record, which is huge. She did so much for the sport and women's track running, to be specific. But I don't know, to me, the highlight, like personally, was just seeing the advancements in technology and all those minuscule differences that can be made and how much of a difference scientifically they can make. I'm a bit of a geek with those like little numbers and all those, marginal gains. That I really liked that, and I thought that was just super cool.
Yeah, it's funny because Nike has tried stuff like that before with Eliud Kipchoge and the sub 2, and they just released a whole suite of gear back in 2017 for Kipchoge and the other 2 who also ran, Lisa DeCisa and Tedeschi. Yep. And back then, I think they struck gold because there was the super shoe, right? That was the real breakthrough in tech. This year, they didn't really have anything. And even if they included some pacing technology, which I think that was what they bet on the most. Like the
formation,
the pacers.
Literally a fleet of men and a few women, but mostly Nike's professional men all heading to Paris to do this, trying to get this light technology on the track to have her follow it. All of this, and they just couldn't get over the fact that the barrier or the goal was just too lofty, I think, for now. She broke her own world record of 4:07 by about a second. The actual time to the millisecond was contentious. Nike manipulated the start.
What a weird, everything about this event. I mean, I love it. I love stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's all made up. It's all kind of insane. I think that none of it should take away from Faith Kipyegon's performance because she was amazing. Yeah. And that was a very gutsy performance for her because she was put so much in the spotlight for all of this and performed at such a high level in spite of all of that pressure. And it turns out kind of Nike didn't, I don't think, necessarily set her up for the success that they thought they were going to get, right?
Not quite, yeah.
It was like kind of a wild adventure, like a real sort of stab in the dark.
Yeah.
And Nike's just like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to spend like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 million dollars on this.
But
it's just like, let's just see what happens.
But let me say something that might piss people off. I really like that they did it. Like my takeaway is that
I love that they did it.
And
I love that they did it.
I loved it.
That's not the piss off part, okay?
Oh, sorry. What's
That's
the
not
piss off part?
The piss off part is that they could have spent those $20 million on some much more boring initiative, a bunch of shakeout runs, whatever, like many other brands do.
Yeah.
They decided to go super nerdy and super out of the box. I want to see more of that. Adidas did that later in the year for the 100K world record. They made a shoe that appears to have no real practical application outside of running 100K for an elite
And I don't
athlete.
know if they even sell it. Like, do you know anyone who owns that weird
I
Adidas
spoke
shoe?
with someone from Adidas this morning who said that everyone is knocking on their door trying to get the shoe. So they've made some, but they can't make enough, which, I mean, what a surprise. But I'm happy that Nike did that.
Yeah.
I'm happy that there was some type of proof of concept. You said it, Jessy. It did a whole lot for track and field, women's track and field in particular. I want to see Hoka do that. I want to see Saucony do that. I want to see more of these stunts because they make people excited about
Even
running.
at 1/10, right?
Yeah.
Even at 1/10 of what Nike did. Because I mean, listen, Nike is by far the wealthiest shoe company in the world in running for sure, and overall in sports. So they can spend lavishly like this. But even if you took $1 million and did your $1 million version, that would be a huge investment.
I mean, Adidas did the like Adi Zero Road to Records event, but I don't think their marketing behind that was all there, I guess, because I mean, no one really knew about it in general or until it happened. Like Agnes Nuggetich ran a 29:27 there.
That's right. And
But no one really-
ASICS also did an event just before this in Japan, launching their Tokyo series.
That's the thing.
Metaspeed
I
shoes.
think we'll see more of it, but I think only Nike has got the marketing side of it right, because it's not just from a performance side. If you're going to do something like this, you need to market it as well. So it's a bit of both. And I just think Nike's the only brand that's really got the marketing.
Well, they even did, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they even do like a series or a show on Netflix about it?
a 3-part documentary.
We made it.
Amazon Prime.
We made it.
Amazon Prime. Okay.
We're on it.
Our voices are there.
Yeah, your voices are on it. I heard it.
I'm
and that
on
was...
it.
That was like, I am actually
Jesse's
on
like
it.
downloaded the episode and clipped the moment.
I sent it to my mom.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course you did.
That was my TikTok, by the way.
I
Did you give
know.
me credit on that?
Yeah, I told my mom Alex took this
Thanks.
video.
Good. Glad.
But it was something that, like you're saying, Jessy, the marketing side of it. I mean, I watched that. I got super jazzed about it. I wanted to know everything about the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, okay, it's a great concept in theory, but you need to also have the marketing behind it. It's not just, oh, let's put this race on or put this event on. It's like what goes on behind it. So yeah, I think if other brands can get that right, then we'll see a lot more of it in the spotlight.
Katelyn, did you coach a lot of athletes. Did your athletes ask you about this event?
They were watching it. We were talking in the chat as it was going on. They were, and none of my athletes run the mile.
Right.
I mean, this is not like there are marathoners or 5K or 10K or half marathon. No one is running the mile. And they were so excited about it. And everyone was writing in the chat, and some were happy for her. They were sad for her. It was, emotionally, they were into it. And very much so.
But about a week later, everyone was happy for her.
Wow, what a pivot. Thank you, Jessy.
You're welcome.
Well done.
What happened,
Wow,
Jessy? What
Jessy,
happened?
tell us why.
Well, Faith Kipyegon went to Oregon. And what did she do in Oregon? She broke her own 1,500 meter world record. She bounced back from what we can maybe call a defeat in Paris and ran a 3:48.64 1,500 meter
Yeah.
at the Prefontaine Classic.
Yeah.
Do you know, I can just imagine how stimulated she was in those days in Paris.
Right.
Everyone's telling her she's so amazing. Everyone wants to see her run. This is the biggest productions, basically theater on the track. And then she goes out and does it, doesn't achieve the mark, has to address all the media after that, which she did graciously, by the way.
she did.
And then
She
flies
did.
across the world.
Almost as good a performance as the run on the track in Paris was her having to show up and do the press conference afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because she was super classy, very even about it, and showed showed how much of a professional she is. She's just
But think about, those emotional highs and lows on top of
Crazy.
the travel. You're going across the sea. The
She
time
was so
difference,
positive about, it was,
think about it. So I think that's just incredible.
But June and the Prefontaine Classic
There's
in
more.
particular.
There was more.
If Faith Kipyegon thought that she could escape the month of June, known and respected as the very best women's track runner in the world, and maybe best track runner in the world, bar none, she was at least half mistaken, because her countrywoman, Beatrice Chebet, also was there to put on a show. So she, at the pre-classic as well, became the first woman to break 14 minutes over 5K. And when that happened, a new conversation started. It was no longer just Faith Kipyegon is the greatest of all time on the track. It was, hang on, who's the top dog here? Is it Kipyegon or is it Chebet? And maybe we'll find that out soon, because both of them are going to compete at Worlds. So this like rivalry kind of came out of nowhere, became somewhat of an all-encompassing thing on the track, because Chebet is, I think, 9 years younger than Faith Kipyegon, so it's not like they grew up together or came up the ranks one versus the other. It was very much a new rivalry that seemed to come out of nowhere and was super exciting.
But I would say it was almost not even a rivalry. It sort of became this like incredible co-headlining performance throughout the summer, right? You got Prefontaine Classic, where you got these two all-time performances and real breakthrough performances by both of these athletes, and they both seemed to be just kind of really happy that they were both there together doing this superlative thing at the same time. And then it carried forward into World Championships as well. And of course, where there's crossover and they're actually competing against each other in an event as well, which was super fun. But tough to root against or for one and not the other, because I think they're both such kind of like likable personalities in running as well. Like you guys know, I'm a big Beatrice Chebet guy. Like I've got the I've Got Faith Nike shirt, but I'd like to have like we're still working like Believe in Beatrice, or what's
Chebet on Beatrice.
There we go. Give me a Chebet on Nike. Give me a Chebet on Beatrice.
That's great.
I want it.
You heard it here first.
It. We will sell it. Yeah. So I think Kipyegon's 1500 meter world record was ignited by that crazy Nike Breaking 4 event. It wouldn't have happened without it. I think maybe timing wise, you look back, like I think Nike made a lot of mistakes, a lot of like glorious kind of fun mistakes with Breaking 4. I'm not knocking them for any of it.
No. But why did you not race more before? Anyway,
exactly. There's all sorts of like hindsight type arguments here to be had, but they did definitely tee her up for breaking her own 1500 meter world record. Which one do you think is the more impressive performance if you have to choose between those two?
God. Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, like sub 14 just sounds so huge.
Wild.
Right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's crazy.
And if you got some spare time and you've not watched both of those performances, I believe they're both on YouTube. That's a fun YouTube rabbit hole, is to watch in full both of these women running the 1500 and the 5000, because they both were like leading from the front, and there wasn't a lot of competition. There was more in the 1500 than the 5000, but like just watching both of those races and watching these two women dominate at their respective distances was totally sort of jaw-dropping stuff. Like a fun 20-ish or so minutes that you can take at lunchtime at some point and watch during while you're eating a sandwich. Okay, let's pivot out of the track and let's go into the mountains.
Back to the trails.
Back break
to
for Alex.
Back to earth.
Back to earth.
Back to earth. Okay, Western States in sunny California. Caleb Olson, Abby Hall, they're your winners. Mr. Kilian Jornet, the GOAT, the Michael Jordan of trail running, returns to Western States. He finishes third, a hearty third place. What's the image? I wonder if you guys have the same image as I do. What's the takeaway image from Western States? There's an image in my mind. What's the image? I have one image in my mind from Western States in 2025.
Like a picture?
Yeah, there's a
In
picture,
your
a
head?
visual. There's a visual.
Honestly, my visual is Caleb Olson's shirt.
That's the
and
one.
how it, almost looks like a scene from space. Like
like
he's
a
in
waffle
outer
French
space.
fry?
No, like he's in outer space and he's a futuristic spaceman.
Like he's wearing, okay, you guys ever buy one of those those Asian pears, I believe they're called. The
Oh yeah, and they have the foamy thing on it.
They have a little foamy sweater around them.
Oh yeah,
those, yes.
Yes.
The Nike like all conditions gear foamy Asian pear.
Well, my thinking is, I don't know if you've seen. Okay, I've seen the photo of him at the finish, but there's one photo of him like in the dark.
Yes,
and just like in the rocks and stuff, and I'm like, he's on another planet.
That's
in
right.
His spacesuit.
He's on the moon. So yeah, the race was hot. The race was long. You had to wear a shirt that looked like some sort of 90s Berlin raver outfit in order to have success. And it then showed up in November on the back of Eliud Kipchoge, which we'll talk about when we get to November.
Still want one of those shirts.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say the fashion statement of 2025 is that Nike waffle French fry. I don't know what to call it. It has
space
a name.
outfit.
The space outfit.
Tryptophobic shirt is what I've been calling.
Yes, it is. It is tryptophobic. Okay. So let's briefly step off of the trail and back onto the roads.
Into the darkness.
Into the disappointment.
Okay, I can say this right now. This is the darkest moment of 2025.
Yeah.
This
the
is
downfall
the low point of 2025.
Of 2024.
If the low point of 2024 was the death of Kelvin Kiptum, which is one of the darkest moments in distance running history.
Yeah.
2025 is quite depressing in a different way because we had the realization that Ruth Chepngetich, at least for now, world record holder in the marathon at 209.56, is a doper. She's a cheater. And on July 17th, it was made public by the Athlete Integrity Unit, which is the anti-doping agency that World Athletics oversees. And they came to discover that she was taking a masking agent, a diuretic, which is widely known to mask the use of other substances. Fast forward a couple of months, we actually do get credit to World Athletics, which is not something I say very often.
You do not.
Credit to them for at least to the Athlete Integrity Unit for revealing a lot of the detailed information in this case, because they released a pretty jaw-dropping PDF that highlights the evidence, which includes, okay, folks, I mean, we've done a whole podcast on this.
Yeah.
You can, I'll do like what the YouTubers do. It's like, and you can watch that podcast right here. I don't know if we're going to put the link in or not, but we did a entire breakdown of these revelations. In some pro tip, if you're a doper, and the anti-doping people come to your door, don't give them your phone.
Don't give them your phone.
Yeah. Get a lawyer. Don't give them your phone.
Delete your text messages.
There you go. I don't know. Use Signal, right? That's what the Trump administration uses,
Snapchat
right?
or something. Snapchat.
I don't know. I don't dabble with that stuff.
There you go. Use Signal, tinfoil hat, people, or Telegram or something, because your WhatsApp messages, Ruth, they were saved, and so were images, and it kind of revealed that she was known to be somebody who knew a lot of stuff about EPO and about steroid use and that sort of thing. And so her career is all but ruined, her reputation tarnished, the world record thrown into disarray and kind of this weird gray area. We have this is where I will criticize World Athletics. We have no clarity and no direction on what all this means. And we're months after this was revealed that she was doping. She's been given a multi-year ban at this point. I don't think anybody believes that her world record was clean. I don't. Hands
no.
here. Who believes, this is poor for the audio version of this podcast, but if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, hands, who believes that she was clean when she ran the world record?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No,
And this
zero.
I think the most disappointing part about this entire story is that there was a lot of backlash after the world record. There were a lot of people saying this was impossible. There were a lot of people saying it was possible. There were a lot of people saying it wasn't possible, and that they were questioning the world record. And people like Jessy and I were behind Ruth Chepngetich 100%, supporting women. We were almost outraged by a lot of the backlash, and we were upset that we were thinking, okay, they think that we can't do it, that women can't do it, that it's impossible, that we're not good enough. And we were frustrated.
You want to believe that, we are taking these big steps in running. We are improving. We are getting there.
Exactly.
And then, of course there's going to be backlash, but then there's people that stand behind her, and then she goes and the trust is gone.
So she's just like a disappointment to women everywhere.
A disgrace.
Because we were supporting her. We were backing her up from the very beginning, saying, no, she did this. Look at women's running. Look how we're advancing. And so the disappointment for me, like I feel very strongly about this in 2025 was clearly this, because it was almost like all of the people out there saying, well, I told you so. Yeah. She couldn't do it.
The crazy narrative is forming here. Like I'm looking back, and this is why our year in review is, I guess, is interesting and worthwhile. Is when you get reflective like this, it's like we go from June with Breaking 4 and with this the big kid company Nike dumping millions and millions of dollars to back Faith Kipyegon and to promote women's running, and then a month later, not even a month later, less than a month later, we find out that the women's world record holder was a cheater. And also she's a Nike athlete too. So like just a gut punch for running.
What really ticks me off the most is that her world record as of right now still stands.
Yeah, that's
we
crazy.
all know 100% she was doping at that time.
Yeah.
Okay. But because her sample was taken in March, I believe, her world record, so it's
going to technically stand.
It's going to technically stand.
It's going to be like one of these.
Unless they can find a sample from before then or from that race, her world record is going to stand. And that I think is just an even.
It's unfair.
It's an even bigger sting, because think of Tigst Assefa, who's I think being robbed now, because like you said, she is. In our eyes, the world
legitimate
record.
version,
the legitimate world record holder,
the tainted version, right?
But it's still going to be recognized that Ruth Chepngetich is the world record holder until proven otherwise, and that's disgusting for me, and I hate that.
And you know what else?
What else?
I will tell you, Jessy.
Thank you.
As it stands, Ruth Chepngetich can be reinstated as early as fall 2028.
Exactly.
We could see her compete again.
It. Yeah.
She could run another world record.
And this is for a whole nother podcast. I mean, can you imagine debating whether or not we think she should be able to compete again? I mean, those are the rules.
I don't think the majors will ever, and not only any of the majors will ever have the nerve to invite her back. Certainly Chicago will never have her back. She humiliated their event.
She'll have to get in the lottery.
A charity bib.
The fastest Corral C runner in history.
I can't.
But something else that is just, and it keeps happening over and over again, is her agent, Federico Rosa. How is he still in the game?
Yeah.
How is he still in the game? How is he still representing runners?
Another not to skip ahead here to October, but we experienced this in October because this is just... running. You can't get out of your own way. Jakob Kiplimo, half marathon world record holder. We'll talk more about him in a couple of minutes when we get to October in Chicago. He's a Federico Rosa athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Rosa was actually in Chicago or not, but I know that he was told, and everyone was told that in Chicago, don't talk about Rosa. Don't ask Kiplimo about Rosa. And it was this just a really weird press conference scenario. And John Galt from the Let's Run dared ask about Rosa to Kiplimo, and it was just like his handler just about jumped over the table at John Galt to stop the interview. So,
but it's like over and over again, the athletes he represents are being caught in these doping cases. What are we doing to stop that? What is World Athletics doing to stop that? There needs to be
a rule change.
Exactly.
There needs to be some sort of very harsh penalty, prohibitive financial penalty to enact change.
Yeah.
Money talks. And ban the managers, ban the coaches. Get one strike or two strikes and you're out. You have to pay the money back if you want any of your other athletes to enter in these events, that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden things will change. Until then, we're going to keep doing the same old as we've been doing for, at least 20 years.
And that's why so many people have trust issues in running.
That's right.
Someone runs a really a really great race, like Ruth Chepngetich, and people instantly
And you question it.
have questions about it.
Yeah.
We can't celebrate things anymore without these questions because it's just becoming so common. Like this year, there were so many doping cases. We didn't even report on half of them because I remember in one day there was 4 different ones, and we were like, we can't just keep reporting these doping cases, and it's insane.
It's disappointing.
Like it leaves me so speechless.
So let's pivot back onto the trail then.
Where Kenya's Jocelyn Chepngetich was banned for doping.
He was banned for
after
doping.
UTMB victories.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
UTMB faced its...
Can you imagine?
Ultra running kind of faced its nightmare scenario with doping as well.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But before we taint the superlative moment that was UTMB. I mean, UTMB was a great event this year. Otherwise, I think in the big race, in the big kid race, the 100-mile event, the full UTMB,
the women's race was so good.
Ruth Croft, the New Zealand athlete, who has sort of been I hate using the term bridesmaid, it's such an awful cliche, but like has always been kind of like the second banana, and like she finally broke through, and in such a big way, and really kind of dominated this race. It was a cool thing to watch. Coverage was good. I mean, like, man, UTMB is just such a... Okay, so if it's like the Barkley Marathons is this one version of all of this stuff, and then UTMB is like the totally like polar opposite version. It's like one is like you don't even know when it starts, and it's tough and no one can follow it because there's no like real like live media there, and it's this very opaque experience, and no one finishes most years with the Barkley Marathons. And then UTMB is the flip. It's like not sponsored by Red Bull, but it kind of feels like a Red Bull type event because it's just like very big on marketing and media.
It's like the world major of trail running.
Or it's like NBA versus street ball.
That's right. Totally. And you know what? And I love it. And I love everything about it. I love watching it live. I love that they've got the camera people like with the camera mounted to their bike helmet,
the bikes,
running along or on bikes,
on a bike,
on bikes, following the athletes in the mountains, and it's some incredible shots, incredible scenery, incredible moments of like just people just eating it hard, and then you're just like, oh my god, that was such an awful fall. Just an incredible race. And then on the men's side, Tom Evans, the British runner, he has his kind of signature race as well. He is like, at least on paper. Okay, so if you're like a roadie, if you're like a road running nerd, and if you kind of poo-poo the whole ultra trail thing, like Tom Evans is the real deal.
Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?
He's like a 60. Well, Tom Evans is an elite road runner. I believe he was a 62-minute, if I'm not mistaken, or 61-minute half marathon runner.
Properly elite, yeah.
So he's your competition.
He came and ran the Coastal Challenge in Costa Rica.
So he
won, of course.
2026.
He had a big breakthrough at UTMB this year. Also a big breakthrough for ASICS because he's an ASICS athlete. He had this prototype shoe on his feet. Had a big win in an ASICS shoe. But then, of course, we also had Joylyn Chepngetich. Did I get the name right? Chepngetich. Kenyan sort of breakthrough star trail runner. You're seeing this like burgeoning group of East African runners breaking through in the ultra trail scene. And this is the nightmare scenario because she tests positive for a banned substance at a previous event. And so that negates her performance at UTMB, and also created I think probably like not talked about enough this year.
100%.
I think it was sort of, I don't want to say swept under the rug, but I think it was like it had this weird chilling effect in the ultra trail community, and everyone's just kind of like, oh shit, do we have to talk about this? Is this real? Is this actually happening now? There's like a fear that this was going to happen, and it happened. So,
well, she later posted on her Instagram essentially explaining her side of the situation. And yeah, I mean, long story short, she claims that she had like a knee pain or a knee injury and received a painkiller and was told by the doctors, trust it, and
was unaware that it was a banned substance.
As far as I know, you can't even take ibuprofen at UTMB anymore.
Right, yeah, because they're pretty sensitive about this stuff, because obviously as an extreme sporting event, there's very real concerns that if you're taking huge amounts of like ibuprofen or like any sort of like pain masking agent, or even like lots of caffeine, that it can be really dangerous.
I think altitude has something to do with it as well, with some of those medications. So they're just taking a lot of precaution. Yeah, because it's a very long period of time, and if you have something that's bothering you, and someone begins to take ibuprofen at the beginning of the race and keeps popping them every few minutes, it's a 40-hour extravaganza. It's good. You could have a lot of issues.
So that was a huge moment, a huge high, and a pretty significant low in the ultra trail scene at UTMB this year.